The Vox Markets Podcast with Justin Waite. Nothing in this podcast is intended as investment advice, and the people in this podcast may hold positions in the stocks they talk about. Do not buy anything based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.
Welcome to the podcast on Monday, the 8th of February 2021. On the podcast today, Brodie Good, Chief Executive Officer of U Group, talks about their extremely strong trading performance accelerating through the second half of 2020. Also on the podcast, Brodie Good, CEO and Technical Director of Alien Metals, gives a summary of the company and explains why they're attending the Mexico Mining Forum. And Alan Green, CEO of Brand Communications, talks about Team 17, Kavango Resources and Blencowe Resources. And as always, at the end of the podcast, I have two lists for you, the top 5 most followed companies on Vox Markets in the last 24 hours, and the top 5 most liked and most read RNSs too. By the way, you can see both these lists at voxmarkets.co.uk. We'll see lots of other content. There's one there about 4D Pharma secures cancer clinical trial with Merck and Pfizer. Also, Blencowe Resources deliver outstanding graphite results at Orm Cross. Of course, Alan covers those in the podcast. Varici DX accelerates commercial launch. Block Energy recommences activity at West Rustavi ahead of first gas sales. And, of course, don't forget our COVID-19 index. Biggest rise of the day, Omega Diagnostics, up 26% to 88 pence, pretty much. Biggest fall of the day is Totally PLC, down 10% to 30 pence. Check that out at voxmarkets.co.uk.
Vox Markets is an online community of investors that runs a free mobile and desktop platform that allows you to track news and updates about any UK-listed company, offering RNS push notifications, detailed charts, pricing data, and much more. Find out more at voxmarkets.co.uk/app.
And joining me on the podcast right now is Brodie Good, Chief Executive Officer of U Group. That's YU. Bobby, thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's nice to get you on. I've seen your company mentioned, on social media quite a bit, and people saying, get. In fact, one of the guys recently said, get Bobby on the podcast there. So it's nice to get you on. And before we get into the recent strong trading update you put out, which is very, very encouraging, the market moved nicely there and reacted positively to it. Before we get into that, Bobby, for people not familiar with U Group, can you explain what it's all about, please?
Yeah, sure. So we're a B2B supplier of gas and power, water to the UK SME market. We're licensed and regulated by Ofgem and Ofwat. We listed in 2016 to overcome what's predominantly a requirement to lodge significant amounts of cash with trading counterparties in order to secure future wholesale volume at agreed prices. Mm-hmm. And although we don't need that now because of our structured trading agreement with Marubeni or Smartest Energy, we still maintain a very healthy cash position and a healthy balance sheet. At the turn of this year, at the end of 2020, we had approximately 18,000 live meter points. That's up 100% at the same time last year. Obviously, good revenues, which we've reported, good gross margins. We don't outsource any of our operations, so we're fully UK based out of our Nottingham offices, and we're looking forward to moving into our new offices in Q2 this year, which are in Leicester.
Marvellous stuff. Now, the trading update, give us some highlights. And like I said, the market reacted very positively to that. So take us through some of the highlights if you could, Bobby.
Yeah, really pleased with market reaction. We released a trading update on the 26th of January. We're in line to release our annual accounts by the end of March. But some trading highlights. So, very strong sales momentum in H2. Annualized bookings averaging 10.3 million. That's up from 5.3 million at the same time in 2019 H2. But we have got very good gross margins, around 18,000 live meter points. That's up from 8,700 from the previous year. And as I said earlier on, a very strong cash position. That's 11.7 million against a forecasted 6.6 million and up from 2.4 million in 2019. Yeah. We expect revenues to be significantly ahead of market expectations at around 100 million, up from a forecasted 92 million. And we've already got 94 million pounds of contracted revenue booked for 2021. We a record 2.5 billion pounds of contracts we've tendered throughout the year. That's contracts we've obviously tendered for, but we haven't won, although we'd like to. But it just goes to show, our discipline in being very selective in choosing which businesses we contract contract with. So we maintain that discipline around good margin, good credit, and segmentation as well. So, demographically segmented. So, and that's what's obviously producing the good results that we're seeing. We've also successfully acquired 2 competitor books over lockdown period, which we migrated seamlessly into our ongoing scalable platform, and they were immediately cash generative. So some good wins there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm just looking at the share price there, and I've got to say, just to put, give people's picture in their head there, it was £1.16, £1.19, pretty much on the day before the trading update, 25th of Jan. On the 26th, you released this, and it went up to close to £2. Now it's at £2.80, so pretty much more than doubled in the last few sessions. What's your views there, Bobby?
Yeah, I mean, the share price, over the last couple of years, I don't think it's any secret. We've gone back. We were in no doubt that there isn't a significant market opportunity for what is a really undiluted industry. It's very difficult to enter into the B2B supply market, volatility risk, cash requirements, the expertise and such. So, my view is the share price is out of kilter, with our current performance and the future growth prospects of the business. I think we're seeing that shift now. We're seeing the sentiment of the investing community, who can see that there is huge upside in a huge addressable market. Just to put some flavour on that, it's a £35 billion addressable market, and we're reporting revenues of around 100 million. So there's a lot of growth in the business to come. I think we've successfully reset our business to take advantage of that growth. But I think I think the share price will follow as more news comes out and we hit and hopefully exceed our targets. But I think we've got a fantastic story. I think we need to get that story out to a wider platform, a wider audience, which we're working towards. But my view is that I don't feel that the share price reflects the future. However, that's for the board now to go out and really tell the story and get people interested in it.
Yeah, and to put in context there, those figures you're talking about there, that's based on your valuation currently at 44 million, 45 million. So yeah, you can see there, some would suggest it's a lot of value to come yet. So let's talk about COVID. It's dominated the world. Every business has been affected by it. How's it affected you? What's the thoughts there, Bobby?
I mean, in the early days, as you quite rightly said, we're a B2B supplier. So in the early days, we were very concerned about the effect of COVID on both us and our customers, as you can appreciate. So we modelled a number of different scenarios of potential and possible impacts of COVID. I think the 3 areas of main concern for us, were volume destruction, bad debt, and the impact on ongoing bookings. I think, again, it's been reported, although we saw volumes drop by 35% in April, those customer volumes recovered in Q2, Q3, up to 90%. And at the year end, we were, customer volume demand was at 94% pre-COVID levels, which is very pleasing. Our bad debt has been managed very well. Cash collection in terms of invoices billed stands at 99%, which again is another record. And our sales bookings have been very strong throughout the year, as I've spoken about earlier on. Our best month on record was July, where we reported an annualized monthly booking sum of 13.3 million. These are records that we haven't sort of, hit ever. So I think it's a testament to the strength of our business. It's a testament to the discipline that we operate in. But I think it's also a testament to our staff and the hard work that they do. And just to mention, we very successfully instigated our COVID mitigation plan. All of our staff were successfully able to remote work over the weekend prior to lockdown, and we had negligible sort of business or customer disruption, which again is very pleasing.
Yeah, absolutely. And so looking forward then, what's your thoughts? You confident?
Absolutely. I've made it very clear that we are at our scale phase of the evolution within the business. We have a huge addressable market. We've built a good reputation amongst both our customers and our trading counterparties. We definitely have an incentive and an appetite to go out and disrupt. We see ourselves positioned very well to continue keep biting at the ankles of the big 6 and stealing business from them. We can do it better. We can do it quicker. Right first time. We have a real incentive to become digital first. So we're working on creating those digital and automated platforms. So I think again, what I haven't seen, I can't comment on, but based upon where the business is today and the vision we have going forward into 21, 2 and 23, I'm very confident and hopeful that we will continue building on those customer numbers, continue our revenue and start generating profits.
Marvellous stuff. Bobby, every day on the podcast, I highlight the top 5 most followed companies on Vox Markets. To get on that list, of course, people have to hit that follow button quite a few times. So right now, if people are listening to these figures and your update and your confidence going forward and liking the sound of it, but are not yet following the story, give them 3 quick reasons why they should hit that follow button and add U Group to their watch list, please.
Well, okay, so, we're a highly scalable business in an undiluted industry where the barriers of entry have been significantly increased. We have, forward-looking predictable revenue, so we can see we've already contracted what we into 21 and 22. We're a founder majority shareholder-led business, me and I. So I have significant skin in the game, and I have no desire to move, exit. So I can see there's huge upside coming in the growth of the business, which obviously will be reflected in the share price. And we're a highly disruptive business which understands the market that we're in. And finally, we respect shareholder value.
Yeah, marvellous. Bobby, it's good to chat to you, and hopefully we'll catch up in the not-too-distant future. Thank you very much.
Looking forward to it, Justin. Thank you.
The Vox Markets Podcast with Justin Waite.
And joining me on the podcast right now is Brodie Good, CEO and Technical Director of Alien Metals. UFO is the ticker there. Bill, thanks for joining me.
Justin, it's nice to see you.
Yeah. Well, and hear you. And you got some snow where you are, yeah?
Yeah, we've got a bit of snow, a few flurries. Yeah, it's coming down again now. But you know what? Bit of homeschooling, and then they're very excited about a bit of sledging. So can't really complain.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, you've announced some news today about the Mexican Mining Forum, and we'll discuss that as always. But before we do that, as always, for people not familiar with Alien Metals, just explain quickly, Bill, what the company's all about and where you are, where you have interest, please.
Yeah, sure. Alien Metals. We're an exploration and mining project developer. We're listed on AIM. We focus on the main, what we feel are the strongest commodities: copper, silver, iron ore, gold. We're sort of on a acquisition-led strategy, advancing projects up the value curve. Both technically and from an investment point of view, and operating currently in Mexico and Australia, 2 excellent jurisdictions, and with great sort of mining history, good places to be and operate.
Absolutely. And what's it like at the moment? Like I said, lockdown and snow on top of that. But how easy is it, or how tricky is it operating virtually?
Well, sort of virtually, yes, but we're fortunate. We've got a really good team in Mexico, with a sort of corporate level, sort of at the high level, and then recently employed a really good sort of senior geologist who's constantly now on the ground, looking at new projects, talking to the mines department, working on getting our drilling permits done, just expanding our ability and our capacity in Mexico, and likewise in Australia. I've got a great team there. We are currently drilling on the iron ore project, one of them. So got a geologist and a field assistant in the field, and then like a sort of exploration manager type based in Perth. And of course our chairman Dan is also Perth based. So we've got great support network and people in place, and also a good network of external third-party consultants we can draw on as and when to do the work we need. So I'm frustrated not being able to go to site and get my hands dirty and see the drilling results and helping the teams. But that's I'm lucky to have these people doing good work while I'm sort of virtually, as you say, directing traffic.
Yeah, cool. I know we're all longing for the lockdowns to ease, and hopefully with the vaccination programs rolling out this quickly, we'll get there in a few months, month or 2 months. But so this your attendance at the Mexico Mining Forum, how's that working, and what's the point of this? What are you doing there? What will you hope to gain from doing this then, Bill?
Well, look, I think it's important. There's the Mexico Mining Forum, which is sort of February 10th to 11th, 12th. 12th, they have a sort of one-to-one extension of sort of meetings and things. Obviously, this year it's virtual, but it's really interesting. There's all the major silver and copper explorers and miners are going to be there. There's lots of discussions and panels, practices for mining in obviously very much focused on Mexico. We have 3 of our main projects are in Mexico. It's a great jurisdiction to be in. So, one, it'll be learning some insight from people who've probably been there longer than us, have more experience, and also hopefully talking to people about their potential projects that maybe we can look at to add to our portfolio, and vice versa, talking to people about our projects, as we did with Capstone. Capstone will be there, Riverside, who we've been, we're in touch with, Newmont, Endeavour, all Panolas. Really, it's really quite, quite honoured to be there, sort of rubbing shoulders with these people and having just getting a better idea of what's going on and giving people a bit more of an insight into Alien as well. Yeah. So, it's never a bad thing to keep lines of communication open, is there, and discuss things, because there are people out there who don't know what you're doing, of course, and maybe very interested, and hopefully something will develop from that, won't it? Yeah, of course. I mean, that's like I say, it can go both ways, but it's really about sort of spreading the word and introducing ourselves to people who might not know who we are, and meeting new sort of people and contacts that everyone can help support and feed off going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Bill. Well, listen, if someone is listening right now and likes the sound of what you're doing and where you're at, but are not yet following the story, just give them 3 quick reasons why they should hit that follow button and add you to their watch list, please.
Well, I think commodities is the first one. So we're our core commodities at the moment are silver, copper, and iron ore. 3 excellent commodities with a very strong future in front of them. That's the first one. Second one, jurisdictions. I mean, Mexico's the biggest silver mining country for the last however many, almost hundreds of years. Fantastic infrastructure and pool of resources and people. Great place to work. And also Australia, of course, one of the powerhouses of mining. So that's the second one. And the third one, I'd like to think the people at Alien, the board, the management, the teams we have, like I say, working in the field at the moment, keen and dedicated and experienced people that are keen to move the company forwards. Excellent stuff. Bill, good to chat to you as always. And like I said, lots going on. So hopefully we'll be catching up in the not too distant future. Thank you very much. Look forward to it, Justin. Nice to catch up. Take care.
The Vox Markets Podcast with Justin Waite.
And joining me on the podcast right now is Alan Green, CEO of Brand and Communications. Alan.
Hello, Just. Good morning. Yes, morning from a semi-snowy Seaford. Very cold. Freezing, in fact. Of course, you've already been out walking the dog, which is very useful. I just
took the dog on the block there because there's snow just hanging in the air here. It's not really coming down. It's slowly floating down, but it's cold. It's literally, if you don't get your gloves on, within minutes your hands like, oh! The dogs, we got dog's bowl. He loves the bowl outside and inside she does. But the one outside, literally, is freezing over within minutes.
I was going to say,
it's minus, yeah.
If he tries to stick his nose into that, he'll bruise his nose. It'll be frozen solid. It really is. Yeah. I think it is -1 at the moment. So I think we're going to get if it snows heavily today, it'll settle and then it'll probably lock in for the week.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. Well, let's get on for the. Do you know what time? I was talking to you just then. Time flies. My son's 11th birthday. This time last year, we just about heard about the the virus, coronavirus, and it was just breaking.
Yeah.
But we were in Centre Parks because my son's 10th birthday, and we thought his 10 years have gone by quickly, and now he's 11. We've had a year of coronavirus. You're thinking, God, time just shoots by whatever you're doing. So you've got to fill your life a little bit and do stuff you enjoy. I think in life because it just shoots by, doesn't it?
It really does. It really does. And I mean, throwback to carefree, happy days, comparatively speaking, because I think just about now we were starting to see some of the videos come out of China about what was actually going on in the hospitals there. And of course, you saw it, but of course, until it really impacts on you in your own home, in your own country, it's actually hard to take in. But I think we were getting a sense of it, but not that it would have the impact that it's had globally. Yeah. So quite
marvelous stuff.
Sobering it.
Yeah, let's crack on. Yeah, the only thing, the problem with the snow is going to slow down the vaccinations. It's going very well at the moment, but I can't see many. So the elderly so be careful in this weather. Just slipping out there, literally on the backside. They'll be. Anyway, so let's get into some stocks. What are you looking at, Al?
Okay, I want to revisit Team 17. TM17 is the epic code, and this is a British video games developer based up in Wakefield in Yorkshire, and basically this year has celebrated 30 years in business, which is quite something. The company listed a few years ago, and for investors and shareholders that got in, it's just been top right-hand corner stuff all the way. If you look at take a look at the chart over the past year, shares were trading at £4.80 this day last year, £8.20 today, and they've already hit a high of over £9 on the year. And obviously, it's been really the ideal environment for video games manufacturers and publishers to flourish, given lockdown, given that there are more people online sitting in front of their screens, wondering what to do. But this company was delivering long before that. They have over 100 titles in their portfolio of games, including the title Worms, which this year is also the 25th anniversary of their acquisition of the Worms title, and of course it's been incredibly successful. The company have just announced that they've also launched one of their best-selling games, Overcooked, onto the new gaming consoles. I believe there are new, not that I'm into gaming at all as a second, as everyone knows, but I believe they've launched. There are new Xbox platforms out and PlayStation platforms. The game has been launched across those titles. In addition to which, the company have just acquired another title, Golf with Your Friends. If you know what that game entails.
Golf,
yeah, it's golf. Yeah. It's golf online. You can play with your friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but the game is developed by Blacklight Interactive, who are a well-known gaming house, and they paid $12 million cash for the acquisition. But I think the numbers, bear out here why they're able to pay cash. Half-year revenues, these are the half-year revenues last year. We're in the run-up now to full-year results. Half-year revenues at September last year grew 28% to just under 40 million. A record first half pre-tax profit up 28% to 13.5 million. Earnings per share up 25% to 8.5 pence, and they ended the first half of the year with 50 million net cash in the bank, up from 35 million previously. Developing loads of titles, and we move forward. I've already said they launched, of course, Overcooked on the new next generation consoles. A few weeks ago, we had a trading update in the run-up to full year figures, which will be announced next month. Performance beating board expectations. Year-on-year revenues expected to rise 34% approximately, and EBITDA up 36%. They launched 9 titles in the second half of the year, and they've already noted a strong start to 2021. And if you look at the chart, it's just a great chart. It's a series of high lows all the way, great support all the way through. And this is something that hasn't gone unnoticed by the institutions. BlackRock own 5.9%, up from 4.5%. Standard Life own 10.5%, and that's up from 7%. And Egon Fund Managers just come in with a 3% holding. So clearly, the institutional investors are seeing what we're seeing. They're just seeing top right-hand corner stuff all the way. Strong development. Shares currently trading at £8.20, as I said, and giving it a market cap of just over £1 billion. But make no mistake, this company is going to continue to grow. It is, of course, under the stewardship of Debbie Beswick, the owner and founder and CEO. She's been driving the company forward, and it's a unique niche games developer that has a very strong position and 50 million quid cash in the bank, ready to spend on acquisitions such as the golf with your friends that we just discussed. So I think this is a great British company, and it's if you're looking for something in the gaming industry to invest into, we've spoken about the likes of Bidstack, we've spoken about Gfinity for the esports side, but this is a games manufacturer that I think has done incredibly well and will continue to do so.
Debbie's knocked it out of the park. Old Debbie Beswick, isn't she?
Debbie Beswick, Yorkshire, yes, indeed.
It was from 2019. It was 194. It's now 822, and the trend in this, my friend, is very strong. God, look at that! There was no dash for cash in March. Everything sold off in March. Yeah. Every company I know sold off in March. Pretty much. This is the first chart I've ever seen where there's a bit of a dip. It went from like 536. Down to 440, in fact, down to 426. So it lost £1 and then soon carried on its trend. It's like, wow. It reminds me of that phrase, Rocky says, "No, how hard you can hit, so hard you can take a hit and keep moving forward." Basically, it took the dash for cash sell-off in its stride and just carried on. And it was almost like having a punch from Mike Tyson, just going, "Is that the best you can do?" And then walking off.
Bring it on. Go on, have another go. Yeah, that free shot.
A strong chart there. That's a very strong chart. And gaming so hot, and if you're in the right area, gaming, you can do very well. So
it really is. Of course, we talk about companies, with cash in the bank, and I mean, 50 million quid is a very strong cash position. And of course, they're just able to pick and choose the titles. They've got the experience of developing them. They know which titles are going to sell, and they're able just to go out and negotiate a cash deal. They don't have to dilute the shareholders by issuing more shares. They pay cash, and on they go. And it's just a great model. Really good model.
Yeah. Cool stuff. Okay, what's next, Al? Can't beat that, can you?
No, I can't, but we're back in the resource space again. 2 resource companies for you. Firstly, I've spoken about this company on a couple of occasions, but I think this is a really exciting prospect. It's Kavango Resources, KAV is the EPIC code, has a market cap of 9.6 million, so a tiny company in relative terms. Shares have traded as high as 3.75p on the year, so just below the year high, and as low as 0.5p. So the company has basically 3 assets. The flagship asset is an asset called the Kalahari Suture Zone, the KSZ, which is in the southwest of Botswana, and it has been developed, analysed. There have been umpteen soil sampling trips, geological surveys, and also geological modelling. And they used a company called Mara Geoscience to identify, to look and develop the model, and also to identify trap zones, and identify what they believe is a huge nickel and copper deposit. Now, with these geological tests and the analysis, they have they've drawn a comparison with a huge mine in Siberia, the Norilsk mine, which produces 90% of Russia's nickel and over 50% of its copper. And in fact, on the world scale, it produces 20% of the nickel globally, which just shows you how big this place is. Kavango believe they have in the KSZ they have a similar opportunity. They have, as I say, undertaken soil sampling and electromagnetic surveys, and they've identified areas in which they're going to go out and drill during the coming year. And of course, if the 3D modelling and the sampling bears out what they believe is there, then we could have an absolutely enormous asset on our hands. There are two other assets owned by the company. Firstly, there's the Ditau Camp project, which is also in southern Botswana. And the Ditau Camp project was drilled in the 1970s by Falconbridge Mining, and they identified what are called carbonatites, and these basically are indicative of rare earth metals. Kavango have continued to analyse the area and these carbonatites, and they've said there is mounting evidence that the Ditau Camp project is at the centre of a previously unrecognised complex containing such rare earths as neodymium and praseodymium and so on. And of course, these are all battery metals and have applications across a huge range of uses. Thirdly, they have the Kalahari Copperbelt project, and here there are two joint ventures underway. I should say also the Ditau Camp project is a joint venture, a 50-50 joint venture with Power Metal Resources. Of course, that's Paul Johnson's company, and I've spoken on many occasions about Power Metal and their range of... Are you in love
with Paul Johnson, Ali?
He's a good fella. He's a good fella. He's a very clever chap.
You're not denying it.
He's a very clever chap. So the Kalahari Copperbelt is the third asset.
Alan and Paul up a tree, KIWSING. You never hear that on a grown-up podcast, will you, for investing?
Not a grown-up one, mate. You will know, certainly.
I think my son's birthday dropping off on me. Go on, go for it.
So, okay, Kalahari Copperbelt, the Hansi Ridge, there is a joint venture is a joint venture with Power Metal Resources, and again, electromagnetic surveys have been completed or are being completed across the South Hansi Ridge, and also there's a joint venture with LVR Geoexplorers in the region too, where there are two license areas and aeromagnetic surveys are underway there. So we are set for an awful lot of news and developments from Kavango going forward into 2021. The company is run by Michael Foster, very well regarded within the industry, formerly worked for De Beers, Reunion Mining and Zincox. And also on the board we have Mike Moles, who's the founder, worked for Delta Gold, Reunion and Lonmen, along with the co-founder there, Hilary Gumbo, who's the project manager on the ground in Botswana.
Mike Foster, excellent stuff. Good name, that, isn't it?
Yep.
Mike Foster's a solid, sturdy name, Mike Foster.
Solid, sturdy name, but also, a solid, sturdy fellow as well, well regarded throughout the industry.
Absolutely. Marvellous stuff. Kavango. Anything else, Sal?
Yes, Blencowe Resources.
Blencowe, cool.
Blencowe. Yep. Okay. So a major update from the company today. The company announced that it had recorded exceptional high grade drilling results from the Orem Cross graphite project in Uganda, and of course the company basically acquired the Orem Cross project from Consolidated African Resources in April last year, raised 2 million at 6p, and the company has also over the past few months raised 300,000 in December at 6p, including 75,000 from directors Cameron Pearce, Sam Quinn and Mike Ralston, who put 25,000 each in, and in January, mid-January, they raised a further 500,000 at 8p, and also appointed First Equity as joint broker. So the company has progressed the project. That they have undertaken a 69-hole drilling campaign where they've analysed and picked out the prime territory, and the results back from Camp Lode, which is it's the closest site to the camp, some 250 meters from the camp. They identified high-grade graphite deposits, and although that was announced at the time, the results have come back from the laboratory this morning, and they've confirmed that the average grade is near double the average 6 to 8% grade that they've experienced thus far at the Orem Cross project. So it's a big step forward for the company. They know there's a huge project there. The thing is, The Camp Lode asset will be used to form the basis of the JORC resource, which is currently being worked through, and we expect those numbers sometime in the next 6 to 8 weeks. Once those numbers are through, of course, then you'll have the basis for a clear valuation for the asset at Orme Cross. But worth bearing in mind that the maiden JORC resource numbers will come from an area that represents less than 1% of the total Orme Cross project area. So there's absolutely huge potential to continue developing the area once the JORC resource has been established, and of course then it'll move to production facilities, getting the graphite into market and so on. And of course, we all know the application for graphite, the new battery-driven environment that we're moving into for electric vehicles and a host of other applications. Graphite forms 50% of every lithium-ion battery out there, so it's going to be a key component going forward. And companies in the business of producing graphite are seeing their share prices rise. In its peer group, Blencowe, of course, is looking at companies like Armadale Capital, which has a market cap of 18 million, and Tirupati Graphite, which has a market cap of 55 million, and Blencowe is just trading currently at 8 million. So plenty of scope for growth there. And I think once we had that JORC resource number, as Mike Ralston was saying in the interview I did with him this morning, I think the share price is going to take a step forward. Also, we have Syra Resources, who are actually producing graphite. They have a huge market cap in comparison, but of course those are steps along the route that Blencowe will take to develop and mature the asset.
Marvellous stuff, good stuff. Yes, hopefully I'm talking to Mike very soon as well on the podcast. Graphite, everything's, rising tide there. I set up an alert, Google alert for electric vehicles and all that stuff, and batteries, and the news coming in. And that's why I like to invest in hot long-term trends. There's no bigger trend at the moment than electric vehicles, electric batteries. That's a massive trend. It's going to be with us for 5-10 years. Well, forever now. But I mean, the hype is the next 5 years, I think. That's when everyone's sort of be gearing up, and then by 2030, hopefully they're saying 30% of the world's cars will be EV. And that's up from, we're at 4.5% right now. So a massive uplift,
It's not just that. I mean, the electric engine it will effectively replace the internal combustion engine. So you're looking at marine engines, so electric motors for ships. You're looking at aero engines. They've already they took a seaplane and replaced the existing radial internal combustion engine with an electric engine, and it flew successfully to its maiden flight about a year ago. So you've got all these applications. It's not just electric vehicles. It's absolutely vast. It's such a huge sea change. If you've got to replace every single bit of power that produces pollution, which is the internal combustion engine, with electric, then that's a multitude of applications.
Absolutely right, Alan. Spot on. Alan Green there, signing off from the pod. Yes, go on. What?
Just going to say, if you go and check my
No, we're not going to do that. Don't need any dirty, mucky websites from you, Alan. Thank you very much.
No.
So this is a family show.
Is Vox Markets a dirty website?
Sorry, I know you're trying to stick in a little mucky website at the end, but
okay. Go to the Blencowe Resources profile page on the Vox Markets website, and you'll see the interview that I did with Mike Ralston this morning, which Mike really talks through the opportunity and also the value comparison too, which I think is key at this point. I think it's the lowest valued graphite producer around at present.
Marvellous stuff. Cheers for Al, and we'll speak you next week, unless we're all snowed in and the power goes down and everything. But sparing that, we'll catch up. All right.
Sparing that, if the internet's working, we'll speak again.
Okay, it's time for the top 5 most followed companies on Vox Markets in the last 24 hours. They are at 5 on the market, up 7.5% to 107.5. I did cover those on the weekend video. Check it out. Just do a search, Justin Waite on the market. At 4, Metro Bank. By the way, on the market's up 7.5. Yeah, I've just said that. I'm just repeating myself. At 4, Metro Bank, up 6.39%, 148.1. At 3, Microsaic Systems up 10% to 0.275. At 2, Tower Resources up 2.94% to 0.525. And at 1, Omega Diagnostics Group up 26% pretty much to 88 pence. Okay, and the top 5 most read RNSs are as follows. Bahamas Petroleum, Perseverance 1, completion of drilling. At 2, Greatland Gold, commencement of new CEO. At 4, 4D Pharma, oncology clinical collaboration. At 2, Avacta, commercial partnership with Mologic. And at 1, Omega Diagnostics, statement media comment. That's it for the podcast. Thanks for listening. Muchos appreciated.
The Vox Markets Podcast with Justin Waite. Nothing in this podcast is intended as investment advice, and the people in this podcast may hold positions in the stocks they talk about. Do not buy anything based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.